Hello my fellow riders, this is Chris at Ride and Reviews, and today we will be looking at the LXR 125cc Euro 5 edition. Now, as you can see, we're standing next to the LXR Euro 5 edition. Now, this is the black and gold version, and there is also black and red and black and white. Now, we're going to do this the same way we normally do: spec, design, comfort, cost of riding, pros and cons, and there will be a test ride in there somewhere. Now, there is something very important that I have to tell you about this bike, and that will come later on, but make sure that you watch the video so that we can get this little safety concern out of the way before spec. Now, there are some subtle differences between the Euro 5 version and the Euro 4 version, and there are some things that are the same. So things that are the same is the wheels, the suspension, the frame. The panels are all different, the rear wheel is different, and this one is 20mm taller than the LXR Euro 4. Now, one major difference between the LXR Euro 4 and Euro 5 is the engine. This used to have 12.1 horsepower, now it's got 12.5, and it has an extra gear. Now, people were saying that this is the same engine, but it actually isn't. This one is the 152ML, and that is made by Zhongsheng, and that was in the Euro 4 version. The Euro 5 version has a 158ML from Zhongsheng. Subtle differences. Are they the same shell? Probably. Are they the same engine? No, because it does have that extra gear. So we'll go have a look at it. So as you can see, there is the engine, and it looks the same as Euro 4. Stainless steel exhaust system, and again, the stainless steel exhaust system looks like it's the same as the Euro 4 version. But that's pretty much it. It has combined braking, and that is for Euro 3 and Euro 4 spec. There's not really a lot more to say about the spec. You do get quite a lot more torque with this engine compared to the other one. The other one you get 9.5 Newton meters of torque. This one you get 11.4. Now, that's going to make quite a big difference, especially with acceleration, and that torque rating might be coming from the gear ratios. With that extra gear, that's going to help a lot with going up and down hills. Yes, you may have to drop an extra gear, but it means you're going to get a better cruise at the top speed. Design. Now, the major difference between this one and the Euro 4 version is, I would say, probably the design. Yes, there was a big difference on the engine, but the design has definitely changed. All the panels are different to the Euro 4 version, and as well, it has been lifted up by 20mm. Now, 20mm doesn't seem a lot, but when you're actually sitting on it, it does actually equate to quite a big difference. So I used to be able to flat foot it on the Euro 4, but I can't flat foot it on the Euro 5. Handlebars are pretty much the same, the clocks are the same, the tank size is the same, the seating position is slightly different. Now, I don't know if you remember from my previous videos, but I did have a pet hate with this bike, and that was these bits here. And the problem with this style of bike is you're supposed to be gripping it with your legs to make sure that you can steer it correctly, make sure that it is as it should be. Problem with this one is because of the way that the tank is shaped, you can't grip it with your legs, because otherwise you're going to have loads of bruises down the side of your legs, and it's not going to be very comfortable. Now, with this one, because it's been raised by 20mm, it means that it's pushing you slightly forward more than the other LXR, and that makes this even worse. Some people have said they didn't mind about it, but it really bugs me when they do that. My pet hate for this bike. Comfort. Again, as you can see, I said it in the previous section, but I can't flat foot it on this bike. Now, riding, you're supposed to be keeping your foot off the floor anyway on the right hand side, because you're supposed to be hovering that back brake. And the main reason for this is if you're on a slope like this, You can't hold your front brake and accelerate at the same time. It's just not really feasible. It's possible, but it's not a good idea. If you put your foot on the back brake, then you can pull away without rolling backwards. You don't want to roll backwards because you might hit the person behind you. Riding position on this, other than my pet hate, so I have a gap of that much in between me, my knee and the tank, and that is because if I push it in, it is really digging in on the inside of my leg. And you think riding around for a couple of hours or that, whilst they're both crashed in like that, you're going to end up with some big bruises on the side of your legs. Now this bike would be slightly better suited for 2s up, but again it's a 125. It's not really designed to have 2 people on it. Cost of riding. Now this bike comes in at £2,699.99. Now this is £400 more expensive than the Euro 4 edition, but the reason for this is because of cost of importing into the UK, the Euro 5 certification, a catalytic converter upgrade. I don't think this one had an upgrade. The exhaust looks the same on the Euro 3, Euro 4. And there are some other changes as well. The other thing is when you do a Euro 4 to Euro 5 transfer, you have to do a new COC certificate, which costs £25,000, and you need to take it to wherever the COC centre is, somewhere in Europe, and they do a 350-page certification on it. So every single part of the bike has to be Euro 5 spec. All of this is. Now your first year's tax and MOT come with a bike. You do not have to have an MOT for 3 years, and your next year's tax will be £21. Insurance for a 17-year-old on this bike should be somewhere in the region of £350 to £500, and that is from. There is a link in the description if you want to go with BikeSure, and if you do so, riding reviews will get a little bit of a kickback, and that always helps my channel so that I can make bigger and better videos. Now remember, in the UK, the legal requirement for riding a 125 is 1, you've got to be 17, and number 2, you've got to wear a helmet. If you just wear a helmet whilst you're riding a motorbike, you are a plonker. Even in the really hot weather, it's going to hurt a lot if you come off. So you're best off wearing a little bit more protective clothing. Now my recommendation minimum would be a helmet, jacket, gloves, and a decent set of boots. They don't have to be riding boots, but they do have to protect your ankle. Now you are supposed to wear trousers, but I have made the decision not to. I can't get any that fit me properly, and I'm sure that if I fall off my motorbike at some point, I am going to regret it. But this is my choice. You make your own choice. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Pros and cons. Now this bike has some really nice features, and it has some drawbacks as well. This is a really good Saturday, Sunday bike, and quite a lot of people are going to use it for commuting, but it isn't really designed for that. It is designed for a bit of fun. Now you can't get a back rack for it, but you can have a pillion bags if you want. You can have a tank bag, or you can carry a rucksack. This is going to be a very good night riding bike because it does have LED lights, HID lights on the front, or HID LED projection, or something along those lines. It does have hazards, but they don't work if the ignition's off. High beam, low beam, and it is a easy to see bike at night just because it has those really good lights. It comes with an analog speedo with, it comes with an analog rev counter with a digital speedo, odometer, what gear you're in, how much fuel you've got, and how far you have been in total. Engine management light, neutral light, and high beam, low beam light, and indicator light. So that is the pros to this. I guess another pro would be that this bike is slightly faster than the last one, and it has an extra gear and a little bit more power. So all of that is a pro. Now let me get on to the cons, and let me get on to what I was on about at the beginning, a little bit of a safety tip on this bike because I had an issue with it. So I will go into that in a sec. My main peeve on this bike is the tank, and that digs into your legs, but some people, this won't matter to them. but it really bugs me. And because they've jacked it up slightly at the back, is making that a little bit worse. Now, the major concern for myself is we unboxed this bike and the manufacturers, not Lexmoto, but the people in China, they have put a greasy substance on the tyres to make it so that when it comes over from the China over the sea, remembering that it stays on the water for about a month. So to protect the bike and the tyres, they have put a greasy compound on the tyres. Now, I wiped this greasy compound off before I went out with brake cleaner, and it looked very much like it had all gone. But when I went round the block, I could feel the tyres slipping out a little bit on the front and on the back. And when you see the test ride video that I'll upload separately, you'll see that it actually made me twitch a little bit and made some stains, shall we say. So what I would always recommend, if you buy this LXR bike, when you get home, wash the tyres. So get some soapy water, wash around those tyres, make sure that you get rid of all the substance that is on them, because I had 2 instances on my 6-mile test ride where number 1, the back wheel slid out a little bit, and number 2, the front wheel slid out a bit. And for me, I am a little bit more equipped to deal with this. For a new rider, that might be rather scary and put you off. So the best thing to do is nip it in the bud straight away. And another thing, I would not pick up this bike in the rain. So make sure that it's a sunny day when you go and pick it up. Once you've done your running in process and once you've cleaned off those tyres, this won't be a problem. It's just within that first couple of miles, 20, 30, 40 miles, that you may have a little bit of an issue. So I would be aware of this. And I think this is probably going to be, they don't usually put that much on the tyres. It's a bit like the tyre shine stuff, but a little bit thicker. So I wouldn't recommend putting a tyre shine on either, because that usually causes issues. But we'll have a little bit of a start of the bike so you can hear it. So that's pretty much it. Also, one last thing, this bike will start on the side stand and it only cuts off the engine if you stick it into first gear. So that is a big plus as well. Overall, the bike is really good. The bike is going to be nice for other people. There is a couple of things that I don't like, but that doesn't mean they're going to cause you a problem. Best thing I always suggest, if you're going to buy a bike, go sit on one before you purchase it. Now, with the Chinese motorcycle industry and quite a lot of the small capacity Japanese industry as well, you can't test ride a bike because we have to insure for the lowest common denominator, which would be a 17-year-old who has just passed the CBT. And if we do that, our insurance premiums would be hundreds of millions of pounds and we'd never be able to get it, and then we would go bust and we couldn't sell your bike anyway. So this is why there isn't insurance available to do test rides on the smaller capacity bikes. Bigger capacity bikes is a different situation because it's a different type of clientele that use the bigger bikes usually. So there is different for getting insurance for them. So thank you for watching my video. I know it's been a while since the Lexmoto LXR has been released, but we couldn't get hold of one. So sorry for the delay, but here you are. Subscribe to my channel to stay updated to all of my latest content. Hit the thumbs up, or if you didn't like my content, comment below and tell me how I can improve it. Now, I have been trying to fan out my channel a little bit now, and I am on quite a few other mediums other than YouTube. So I am on LBRY, which is library, Obzy, I think it is as well, Mix.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all of these places. So go and hit those ones, give me a likes, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, give me a comment on any of those, and I will do my best to answer you back. Remember, I have 270 videos on my channel at the moment, and there's quite a lot of information and tutorials and stuff like that on there so that you can have a better understanding of biking. potentially before you start or after you've started. There is stuff there to suit everybody. I think that's it. I think I've covered everything today. Sorry if I've blabbered on a bit, but that is it. So, as always, ride safe.